Good morning, all. My name is Menla, and we are at our weekly town hall. We're so fortunate today to have Kelley leading us, which she will be doing on retreat as well. So it's a good chance to hear her. And I just want to start with a couple of announcements. First is the retreat, which is coming up on the 22nd. And I bring this up because this is probably the last time we're going to be announcing this, because October 12th is the end of registration. So that's only a few days away. And I'd love to have you join us if you can, this retreat. So Kelley will be there. Lama Roger will be there. Lama Surya, of course. I will be there. So hope to see all of you as well. And then we have a master class. That's coming up next Saturday, how to be a bodhisattva. So a good opportunity. You can register at the website there, and you can take just the one class. If you're registered for all of them, thank you for doing that. So without further ado, I will let Kelley take us away into our meditation today. Thank you, Kelley.
Thank you, Menla. Good morning, everyone. Always so wonderful to see you all. So heartwarming to share this space together. As always, I feel so honored to be here teaching and co-practicing, co-meditating with you all. So today, well, as Menla said, my name is Kelley. I should always have to remember to reintroduce myself. My name is Kelley, a longtime senior student of Lama Surya's. And as Menla said, I've been bestowed with the privilege of leading along with our other cohort members. And, as we're leading into this retreat season, which we haven't had in quite some time, for those of you who've been with us for many years, hopefully you'll have a chance to join us. And for those of you who haven't, and maybe you've had a chance to join us on virtual retreat, while those have been extraordinary and amazing, just as Meditation Town Hall is, being there together in person is really an indescribable, special experience. The energy exchange and the warmth and the love that we are able to share in noble silence is really just something that's so special. I've personally missed it so much. For the first year or two, I really appreciated not having to travel. And then I appreciated the ability to integrate practice with home life in an instant. And now I'm ready for in person. So I hope you'll join us. And I know we have many, many registrants, which is really exciting. So in the spirit of leading into, we're 2 weeks out from retreat, I thought I'd talk a little bit today about bodhicitta and refuge, and what it means to practice bodhicitta, what it means to have a bodhicitta heart, what it means to take refuge. So we'll go into that in a moment. But right now, we will begin. Now, if you could please put up the Pali Refuge. So you are welcome to chant along. You're also invited to just sit and be and allow the words and the energy of the words to wash over you. One of the other beautiful things about being on retreat is we're all chanting together, which I have also missed. Took a little getting used to being the only voice you hear when you chant on Zoom. So, okay. So this is the Pali Refuge, the bodhicitta and 4 vows. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama buddhassa. Namo
tassa
bhagavato
bhagavato
arahato
sama sambuddhassa.
Homage to the fully
Fully
awakened,
awakened, perfectly enlightened Lord Buddha.
perfectly enlightened Lord Buddha. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam
Saranam
saranam
gacchami.
gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. I take refuge in the enlightened Buddha. I take refuge in the sublime Dharma teaching. I take refuge in the noble Sangha community. From now until reaching perfect Buddhahood, for the benefit of all sentient beings without exception, I shall practice the 6 perfections wholeheartedly day and night. Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. We vow to transcend them. Dharma teachings are boundless. We vow to realize them. The Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. We vow to embody it. Taking a deep breath in. Settle into your seat. Feel whatever it is you're sitting on rising up to support you. Feel your own breath rising, surrounding, filling, supporting your very existence in this moment. So in Buddhism, in Dzogchen, we talk about bodhicitta. We talk about taking refuge. And I think it's worth our time to really sit with, what does that really mean? Sometimes these words in other languages, in Sanskrit or Tibetan, can be confusing. And sometimes we take them for granted because it's, especially when they start to become familiar, we just hear bodhicitta and we're like, oh yeah, I know what bodhicitta is. But even as I was preparing for this talk, I really sat with this week, what is bodhicitta? What is bodhicitta at the essence, at its heart? And so at its base level, bodhicitta is a Sanskrit word. It means awakened heart or mind. So citta means mind, heart, or attitude. And bodhi means awakened, enlightened, or completely open. And this also can be one of the confusing elements of these translations, which is why, and we can talk to Lama about this another time, why Lama has us do these prayers in English and in their original language. Because the original language, there's a jewel of meaning and essence in the word in its language that isn't translatable to English. So even just feel the word bodhicitta. Feel it in your body. And how does that land? And then you might notice if I say the word awakened heart mind, something else may activate. Maybe it activates your intellect in a way that saying bodhicitta does not. And at our core essence, whether we put these words to it or not, what we're here doing together is awakening our hearts, awakening our minds, dispelling the illusion of separation. In order to do what? I'm not going to answer that for you. That's a very personal answer. But one worth being with. Your noble heart, your genuine heart, your wounded heart, your open heart. What are you seeking through that open, loving, deep, wounded heart? What does it mean to awaken our heart? How do you get in touch with that soft, tender spot, that tenderness for life, that tenderness and compassion that from the moment we're born into this incarnated body to the moment we die, whether we like it or not, is exposed in the world. We fight like hell sometimes to protect it, to armor it, to close it off, to feel safe. And then if you're like me and you do that pretty darn well for a number of years, you realize it gets pretty lonely in there when you've armored it and protected it to avoid the pain that and the suffering that exists in real life. And if you're like me, when you avoid that pain, what you soon come to realize is you also inadvertently end up closing off joy and happiness and wonderment. Because we actually can't close off just one part of our heart. If we close it down, we close down the whole thing. And so part of the beauty of this practice and the study of the Dharma is learning to be with an open, tender heart so that we can be in the world, of the world, for each other. Which can be a scary thing. It can be very scary because it means we have to feel all the feelings. And our human conditioning unconsciously leans us in the direction of avoiding pain, avoiding suffering, and seeking happiness. But the duality is a false duality, because if you avoid the pain, you actually also avoid the happiness. So it's a setup. And so dropping into our tender, fragile, yet incredibly strong heart is a path of awakening. It's a path of intention. Because we are human beings. We are divine beings in these human forms. Which means that while there's a consciousness deep inside of us, an essence deep inside of us, that knows that there's nothing to protect, because we essentially, there's no other, there's no separateness. We're here in human form with an ego and with an intellect that's saying, oh, yes, there is. This is scary, this is hard, this is painful. There is something to protect. And sometimes when we find ourselves on this path, we can get confused, and meditation and practice can become a bypass. It can become a way to escape. And what I'm going to invite you to do today, and what the true Bodhisattva path invites you to do, is not to use this practice to escape, but to open, to allow. This longing to awaken, here we are, 45 people sitting in a Zoom room, and you can articulate your desire to be here in any number of ways, but at its essence, we're here to awaken. We're here because we know there's something else. We know there's another way of being in the world that is not about otherness, that can transcend and transmute our fear of separateness, our fear of not belonging. That if we can drop down into our essential being, we feel the opposite of loneliness. We feel the warm, tender connection of what it means to be a human in this world. And then if you take it a step further, and you take this longing to awaken, we take the longing to awaken, not just apply it to ourselves, but to help others, to enable others to be in the world so that others can do the same. And in our tradition, that's not a path of missionary or proselytizing. That's a path of being. How can I be in the world in a loving, open, tender way, so much so that the way that people experience me, it inspires them to want to be the same way. It creates a sense of love and safety so that they can fully be themselves with you, because you can take it all in. Now you might be saying, oh, that all sounds great. That's like super easy to say, right? Super easy for me to say, like, just open your tender, wounded heart and let the world in. And that's why we practice. So we practice so that we can work with that in this moment, which is safe. This is a safe, sacred space to work with opening our heart. And for many of us, including me, the first step in opening our heart is opening our heart to ourselves. Turning that compassion, turning that tenderness inward to say, I see you. I feel you. I am here for you. Because if we're only here for others and we skip ourselves, it's not going to work out. Resentment builds, all kinds of things build, but at the end of the day, if we're here for somebody other than ourselves, then we've excluded ourselves from the oneness. So while I invite you to be open and vulnerable and tender, I'm also going to commit to you that we're all here holding a sacred space. And your job in this practice today is to find your edge, to find that edge of tenderness that you can tolerate today. Pema Chodron talks about bodhicitta as having three qualities. She says it's soft and gentle, and that's the compassionate part. And at the same time, it's clear and it's sharp. That's the prajna. That's the wisdom. And then finally, it's open and empty. And openness and emptiness is shunyata, which is another word that gets very confusing. And this is, again, where translations are limiting. When we think of emptiness in our culture, it sounds cold. It sounds lonely to me, even. But shunyata is not cold loneliness. It is a warm, sun-filled room. It is warm. It's the sun shining in the open space. And what I've been practicing with lately is that soft and gentle, compassionate, open, tender heart that is also discerning and sharp and clear. I can hold both if I'm holding it in the empty, warm space of shunyata. And in Dzogchen, because then there's a limitless expanse that it can be held. It's not contained inside my body that is vulnerable and exposed. It's held in this like effulgent way. And many of you have heard me say this before, but Lama has this teaching where he says the bad news is you're jumping out of a plane without a parachute, right? That's the bodhicitta path. The good news is there's no ground. So if you can feel that you've jumped from the plane, you've opened your heart, and then you just allow the viscous warmth, the effulgent warmth of the space to hold you. And that's the place we're going to try to practice from today. Because in order to feel true compassion, it has to be for all, and that includes ourselves. And it can really change the way in which we relate to ourselves and to others in a way that eases our suffering and starts to eliminate that feeling of separateness. It dissolves that false illusion that we are separate if we're all hanging out in that space, in that liminal space. So close your eyes if you want to. If you don't want to, it's also a path of freedom, so you get to do what you want. But if you're comfortable, close your eyes and gently close them. And just begin to focus your attention inward. Maybe even noticing what's the quality of the energy in your body. How has it shifted even in the last 10 minutes? And as you turn that focus inward, find your breath. And by that I mean find the origin of your breath. Where is it beginning? There's nothing to do with that. Just allow it to breathe you. And with each in-breath, allow your attention both to go inward as well as to begin to expand through your body. So it's in and out at the same time. And this is a practice of feeling, not thinking. So don't worry about doing this right. Just feel your way through it. Feel your own presence. See if you can feel the warm, tender spot, that open softness, no matter where it is in your body. See if you can find an open, tender spot. There's nothing to do with it. Once you've found it, just witness it, feel it. And no matter what's happening, just bear witness to it with a soft gaze. Are you finding resistance? Are you finding that very act of putting your attention on it expands it, opens it, widens it? Breathe into that tender space. Opening to any feelings, any thoughts that are arising. Allowing whatever is arising to arise, and also allowing it to fall back away. Like clouds floating by. There's nothing really there to grab onto. Even though our mind thinks there is. Resting, breathing, and relaxing into what is. Who or what is witnessing? Who or what is feeling? Experiencing this very moment. Who or what is aware of this awareness? As your mind, as it will, begins to wander or to tell you stories, gently bring it back. Gently hold it. Allowing the humanness. And now opening your eyes softly, gazing out with a soft gaze. Not focusing on any one thing, and also not focusing. Like a beam of light. Your awareness is not the source of light, nor is it the object, it is the beam. Open, eyes open, mouth slightly open, jaw relaxed, ears open, throat open, chest open, heart open. Open to all that is arising and all that is falling away. a gentle focus on your out-breath. Breathing in naturally. And as you breathe out, exhaling fully, feeling the edge of that emptiness. When you feel like you've exhaled completely, holding that out breath, trusting your body to inhale again when it needs to. As you breathe into that empty space, merge with it. Expand your awareness beyond the edges of your physical body. Just as an experiment. Opening deeper and wider. Without forcing, without pushing. Sitting and allowing. Presencing. With that outward gaze, that outward presence, warmth and tenderness on the edge of your being, gently turn that awareness towards your center. Put it back in on itself. Feel that sensation of who or what is turning that awareness in on itself. Breathing in and breathing out. Never alone, never separate. Living Dharma, knowing Dharma, expressing Dharma, being Dharma. To be aware of the illusion and fully awake and alive. In the middle of this joyful, broken heart, we are everything and nothing, We are everyone and nobody. Nobody can bear and endure it all. Somebody can bear witness to the depths of being. Surrender and see what happens. Nothing happens, and everything happens all at once. Allowing all that is to arise in this warm expanse of limitless space and love. Trusting that it is all here for us. Feeling it, seeing it, holding it all together. The love and the pain and the suffering, the joy and the light. It's the whole universe of being. There is nowhere else to go. There is no one else to be. There is nothing else to do. Awareness of awareness of awareness, steeped in love. And now if you can put up the path clearing and wish fulfilling prayer to Padmasambhava. You are invited to stay in the space you're in or join us in chanting. Dusum Sanjay Guru Rinpoche Nudru Kundak Dewa Chen Poja Arche Kunsel Dudu Drakpo posel, so wadap so jingilap tu so. Chinang sangwei barche ji wadahang sampalun ji drupa jingilo dusum sanjay guru rinpoche nudru kundak dewa chen poja barche kunsel dudu drak posel so adep so jinjilap tu so chinang sangwei barche ji wadahang sampalun ji drupa jingilo. Precious guide, one with all the Buddhas of the three times, blissful presence and source of all spiritual accomplishments, fierce destroyer of illusion who dispels every obstruction. We pray to you for blessing, inspiration, and realization. Please remove all outer, inner, and secret obstacles and spontaneously fulfill our aspirations. Thank you. Sonam di tam chezik bak ni tobne ne pedronam pamjene geganachi balap drukpachi sipe sole drowa drowar shuk. By the power of this meritorious practice, may the real enemies, our own projections and misdeeds, be overcome, and sublime realization fully attained, so we may free beings from the miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death, the stormy waves of the ocean of samsara. Let's do the 4 dharmas of Gampopa. Somewhere there. And then, let's just do Lama's New Millennium Prayer. That's easier. May all beings everywhere with whom we are inseparably interconnected and who want and need the same as we do, may they be awakened, liberated, healed, fulfilled, safe, and free. May there be peace and harmony in this world and an end to war and violence, poverty and hunger, inequality and oppression, greed and cruelty, pandemics, famine, droughts, earthquakes, all kinds of natural disasters. May all be free from fear, harm, danger, anxiety, and insecurity. And may we all together complete the spiritual journey. One beloved community, one circle, one family, all the way home. Thank you all for your presence and your beautiful practice today. Any questions or sharing? And any questions about this practice, but any questions about retreat? Happy to use these last few minutes to, even if it's a logistical question, you don't have to have a deep Dharma question here. anything that arises. You can either raise your hand or send it to Menla.
Yeah, I have everyone unmuted, so if you want to raise your hand down on the reaction section, you can do that. Just unmute yourself. But thank you, Kelley, for that. I think that was a great lead-in too for Saturday's masterclass coming up. So, and for those of us going on retreat. And just a reminder to everyone that we operate under your goodwill of donations. So anything that you can send is always welcome. And there's also membership. The membership has its privileges, discounts to everything that we have coming up. And if you don't have anything to say, you can always send Kelley some love in the chat. So I think maybe this might be oh, wait, here we go. How do you spell the word that means the empty sunlit room?
Well, it depends on who you ask, but it's either, I've seen it two ways. One is Hunyayata, which I'll put in the chat, or Sunyata. So Sunyata, Shunyata. It's one of those translation.
So if you like hearing Kelley, join us on retreat, as she'll be offering some Dharma there as well, and she'll be with us again on town halls coming up. All right, well, I guess we will end it there then. Thank you everyone for being here today. See you next Sunday if you can join us, and Saturday for masterclass, don't forget. And October 12th is the end of registration. So take care, everyone. See you soon.
Love to you all.